Chapter 10. Sometime later, King Nahash of the land of Ammon died, and his son Hanun became king. And David said, "I will be kind to Hanun, just as Nahash his father was kind to me." Then he sent messengers to Hanun to show his friendship. But when the messengers arrived in the city of Rabbah, the Ammonite officials said to their king, "Do you think it is an honor of your father that David has sent these men to show friendship? Of course not. He sent them here as spies to learn about the city so they can destroy it." Then Hanun seized David's messengers, shaved off one side of their beards, cut their clothes off at the buttocks, and sent them away. When David was told about it, he sent other messengers to meet them, because they were very ashamed. David told them to stay in the city of Jericho and return only after their beards had grown back. The Ammonites realized they had made themselves enemies of David, so they hired 20,000 Aramean soldiers from the cities of Beth, Rehob, and Zobah. They also hired the king of Maas with 1,000 men and 12,000 men from the city of Tob. When David heard of this, he sent Joab with all the best soldiers of Israel's army against them. The Ammonites came out and took position at the entrance of the city of Rabbah, while the others, the Arameans of Zobah and Rehob, and the men of Tob and Mesach, took position in the open field. Joab saw that the enemy troops would attack them from the front and from behind, so he chose the best soldiers of Israel and placed them facing the Arameans. He put the rest of the troops under the command of his brother Abijah, who placed them facing the Ammonites. And Joab said to Abijah, "If you see that the Arameans are defeating me, come and help me. And if the Ammonites are defeating you, I will come and help you. Be strong, let us fight bravely for our people and for the cities of our God, and may the will of the Lord be done." Then Joab and his soldiers advanced to attack, and the Arameans fled. The Ammonites saw the Arameans fleeing, so they also fled from Abishai and went back inside the city. And Joab stopped fighting the Ammonites and returned to Jerusalem. When the Arameans saw that they had been defeated by the Israelites, they gathered all their troops again. King Hadadezor called the Arameans, who were on the east side of the Euphrates River. Then they came to the city of Helam. In front of them was Shobach, the commander of Hadadezor's army. When David heard this, he gathered the Israelite troops, crossed the Jordan River, and marched to Helam. There the Arameans took their position facing the Israelites. The battle began, and the Israelites made the Arameans flee. David and his soldiers killed 700 charioteers and 40,000 Aramean horsemen. They also struck down Shobach, the enemy commander, who died there on the battlefield. When the kings subject to Hadadezer saw that they had been defeated by the Israelites, they made peace with them and submitted to their power. And the Arameans were afraid to help the Ammonites again. Chapter 11. The following spring. The time of year when kings usually go out to war, David sent Joab and his officers and the Israelite army to attack the enemies. They defeated the Ammonites and surrounded the city of Rabbah. But David stayed in Jerusalem. One afternoon, David got up after resting a little and went for a walk on the roof of the palace. From there, he saw a very beautiful woman bathing. Then he sent to find out who that woman was. And he learned that she was Bathsheba, daughter of Eliam and wife of Uriah the Hittite. Then David sent some messengers to bring her. They brought her, and David had relations with her. Bathsheba had just finished her monthly ritual of purification. She returned home and later discovered that she was pregnant and sent word to David, telling him this. David then sent this message to Joab, "Send Uriah the Hittite to me." And Joab obeyed. When Uriah arrived, David asked him if Joab and the troops were well and how the war was going. And then he said to Uriah, "Go home and rest a little." Uriah left, and David sent a gift to his house. But Uriah did not go home. Instead, he slept at the gate of the palace along with the king's guards. When David learned that Uriah had not gone home, he asked, "You have just come back after being away for a long time. Why did you not go home?" "The men of Israel and Judah are away on the battlefront, and the Ark of the Covenant is with them. My commander Joab and his officers are camped in the open fields. How could I go home to eat and drink and sleep with my wife? I swear by all that is sacred that I could never do that. Stay here the rest of the day. Tomorrow I will send you back." And Uriah stayed in Jerusalem that day and the next. David invited him to dinner and made him drunk. Even so, Uriah did not go home that night. Instead, he slept on his blanket in the guardroom of the palace. The next morning, David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by Uriah. David wrote the following: Put Uriah in the front line, where the fighting is heaviest. Then withdraw and let him be killed." So, while besieging the city, Joab sent Uriah to a place where he knew the enemy was strongest. The enemy troops came out of the city, fought against Joab's forces, and killed some of David's officers. And Uriah also was killed. Then Joab sent David news of the battle. He said to the messenger the following: "If after you tell the king everything about the battle, he becomes angry and asks, 'Why did you go so near the city to fight them? Did you not know they could shoot arrows from the top of the wall? Do you not remember how Abimelech, son of Jerubbesheth, was killed? It was at the city of Thabaz, where a woman threw a millstone from the wall and killed him. So why did you go so near the wall?' The king asks this answer: 'Your officer Uriah also is dead.' So the messenger went and told David what Joab had commanded. The messenger said this: 'The enemies were stronger than we were, and came out from the city to fight us in the open field. But we forced them back to the gate of the city. Then they shot arrows from the top of the wall against us, and some of your officers were killed, and your officer Uriah also is dead.' David said to the messenger, 'Encourage Joab, and tell him not to be worried, for in battle one never knows who will die. Tell him to attack more strongly until the city is conquered.' Bathsheba learned that her husband had died and mourned for him. After the time of mourning was over, David brought her to the palace. She became his wife and bore him a son. But the Lord did not like what David had done. Chapter 12. The Lord God sent the prophet, Nathan, to speak with David. Nathan went and said, "There were two men who lived in the same city. One was rich and the other was poor. The rich man owned much cattle and sheep, but the poor man had only one little sheep that he had bought. He cared for it, and it grew up in his house together with his children. He fed it with his own food. He let it drink from his own cup, and it slept in his arms. The sheep was like a daughter to him. One day a visitor came to the rich man's house. He did not want to kill one of his own animals to prepare a meal for the visitor. Instead, he took the poor man's sheep, killed it, and prepared it as a meal for his guest. Then David became furious with that man and said, 'I swear by the Lord, the living God, that a man who did this must die. He must pay 4 times what he took for having done such a cruel thing.' Then Nathan said to David, 'That man is you. And this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: I made you king of Israel and saved you from Saul. I gave you his kingdom and his wives. I made you king of Israel and of Judah. And if this had not been enough, I would have given you twice as much. Why did you disobey my commandments and do this horrible thing? You caused Uriah to be killed in battle. You let the Ammonites kill him and then took his wife. Therefore, because you disobeyed me and took the wife of Uriah, always some of your descendants will die a violent death. And I also declare that I will make someone from your own family bring about your disgrace. You will see this when I take your wives and give them to another man, and he will lie with them in broad daylight. You sinned hidden, in secret. But I will make this happen in broad daylight for all the people of Israel to see." Then David said, "I have sinned against God, the Lord. The Lord has forgiven your sin. You will not die. But because by doing this you have shown so much contempt for the Lord, your son will die." Then Nathan went home, and the Lord made the son of David, the wife of Uriah, very sick. David prayed to God for the child's life and would not eat anything. He went into his room and spent the whole night lying on the ground. Then the servants of the palace tried to make David get up, but he would not and did not eat with them. A week later the child died, and the servants were afraid to give the news to David. While the child was alive, David did not answer when we spoke to him. "How shall we tell him that the child has died? He might do something desperate." When David saw the officials whispering with each other, he understood that the child had died, and he asked, "Has the child died?" "He has died." Then David got up from the ground, bathed, combed his hair, and changed his clothes. Then he went to the house of God, the Lord, and worshipped. When he returned to the palace, he asked for food and immediately ate what was served to him. Then his officials said, "We do not understand this. While the boy was alive, you wept for him and would not eat. But as soon as he died, you got up and ate." "Yes. While the boy was alive, I fasted and wept, because the Lord might have mercy on me and not let him die. But now that he is dead, why fast? Could I make him live again? One day I will go to the place where he is, but he will never return to me." Then David comforted his wife Bathsheba. He had relations with her, and she gave birth to a son, to whom David gave the name Solomon. God loved the boy and sent the prophet Nathan to give him the name Jedediah, because the Lord God loved him. Meanwhile, Joab continued to attack Rabbah, the capital of the country of Ammon. When he was about to conquer the city, he'd sent messengers with this message to David: "I attacked Rabbah and conquered its water supply. Now gather the rest of your soldiers, and you attack the city and take it. I do not want to have the glory of this victory." Then David gathered his soldiers and went to Rabbah. He attacked the city and conquered it. Moloch, the idol that the Ammonites worshipped, had a crown that weighed about 34 kilos. The crown was of gold, and in it was a precious stone, which David took and put on his own crown. He also carried away from Rabbah many valuable things. David made the people of the city work with saws, hoes, and axes, and to make bricks. And he did the same in all the other cities of Ammon. Then David and his soldiers returned to Jerusalem.